right, here we go. Yeah, so we got like 40 seconds. So I don't know what they're gonna announce today, but maybe honestly, the only reason I'm even watching is because they might bring up some Resident Evil stuff. Oh my god! It's Resident Evil! Resident Evil 4 Remake!
Condor Wonder Roost. I've located Baby Eagle.
Oh, hell yeah! Oh, here we go! Already! I'm glad I tuned in! I'm glad I tuned in!
Guess you, me, picked the wrong spot to vacation, eh?
You will receive our most sacred body. It begins now.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Yeah!
If I could just forget what happened that night. The pain. Even for a second. This time, it can be different. It has to.
March 24th, 2023, that's less than a year from now! PlayStation VR 2 content also in development. Whoa, okay. Man, they started this off strong, dude. They started this off really strong. Hang on. I really want to rewatch it. Let's see if they posted it. Okay, let's see. I guess I'll watch IGN's video, whatever. Man, Resident Evil 4 is like I'd say one of my top 5 games. So I'm like of all time. So I'm like super hyped. Oh wait, there's more of it. Okay. Hey, look, there's one of my DVD videos. Wow. Okay, so that's the trailer, right? So they start off in the beginning doing this stuff.
Wonder Roost.
So really we get like maybe a minute of actual footage like to look at, because it starts around like 40 seconds and then it goes to like a minute 40. So this is Leon. Sorry, here I'll go maybe over here. Oh no. Here we go. So this is Leon meeting with the president, I'm guessing, which isn't in the original game, so interesting choice. Cuz like the original game just starts off with him in the car, which they show footage of that a bit later. It looks great. So there's Ashley running from something, which is, you know, something we didn't really get to see in the original game. It's interesting here because this is Ashley again. I'm wondering where this is. Do any of you recognize this from the original game? I mean, I was thinking it would be the church, like, because there's kind of a part that sort of looks like this. Like, yeah, like right after the graveyard, right? Now, where's this? I think this might be the first house that you pull up to in the game. I think this is the first house. Yeah. And then that's Leon going into the first house. This is, of course, you know, where's everyone going? Bingo, obviously. That's very recognizable. Here's Lewis talking in the background.
It's you, me. Picked the wrong spot to vacation, eh?
There's the red 9 right there. Lewis's main weapon. And I guess that's him holding it, you know. And then this guy right here, this is the first Ganado that Leon ends up killing in the first house. So they're showing a lot of like the introductory sequence, which is cool because we don't get to see stuff like way late in the game. They haven't showed like the regenerator or, you know, anything from the island or anything from the castle even. So I appreciate that. It's like we're getting to see stuff from the game, but it's all early on. Although actually this might be in the castle because that looks like one of the cloaked Ganados. And that's the Los Illuminados symbol right there. Just in case you need me to point it out. Here it is. Here's the... So like you got... Yeah, so I think this might actually be in the castle. This is in the castle too, actually. Yeah, because look, they're all cloaked up. That's just zombies. Well, oh, that's Ada. We got to see Ada. She's looking good. She's actually... Well, she's got like a sweater on, so she doesn't have the classic red dress. And that's not... Is that... it's been a while since I've played 4. I don't think she ever wears a sweater. That's fine. I'm not sitting here being like, oh, they changed her clothing. But I'm sure. I mean, it's Ada. She's gonna look fine. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is Del Lago right here. Leon in the boat. There's the big cheese, I believe, right there. Here's Leon having his little freak out of like, I'm infected. There's Ashley. You can't really see much there except her eyes. Right there. There's the church. That's the church right there, yeah.
You will receive our most sacred body.
And this is Sadler.
It begins now.
Which is, it's... I have to say, the voice acting so far sounds really good. Because in the original game, as much as I love it, it is very cheesy. Sadler sounds very cheesy. Idiot American pop. You know, it's like, I'm glad we won't have that guy. Instead, we'll have this guy.
Body. You will receive our most sacred body. It begins now.
And he still has kind of like that campy signature voice, but it's done a bit better, I think, or more appropriate for the tone of this new game, which I like.
If I could just forget what happened that night.
So this is, of course, he's in the exact pose of him riding into town. So nice.
The pain.
He looks at a photo of Ashley
Even for a
here.
second. This time, it can be different.
This is probably, I mean, when I saw this, I was feeling some things right here. Like all the other
It has
clips,
to.
all the other clips are great, but this right here, I mean, everyone who's played the game, this is like these are some of the most memorable steps right here. Walking up to that first village encounter right there. That is awesome. And it looks great. I want to watch it again.
It has to.
That's so cool. Like, this is going to be so sick. I think one thing that's interesting too is that, you know, Resident Evil 2 Remake is a great game. Resident Evil 3 Remake is a good game, you know. But they both take place, you know, primarily at night. It's a lot of like dark environments, you know, the city at nighttime. And this is it's gonna be cool to see, I guess, daytime, you know, this rural environment. It kind of reminds me of RE7 a bit, actually. Yeah, that's really cool. I can't believe it's coming out March 24th too. That's less than a year. That's 9 months. Well, okay, that's a bit of a stretch. Like 9 months and 3 weeks. That's so cool. Oh my God. I just cannot die before March 24th, 2023. I have to live until then. I said that about Resident Evil Village, but now I'm like, okay, I just gotta make it until this day. One thing that I'm wondering too is like Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 are pretty short games. Resident Evil 4 is markedly longer. I wonder, this is probably my only concern because this release date was a bit sooner than I thought it would be. I'm a little concerned that there's going to be cut content. Like in Resident Evil 3 Remake, I didn't so much mind it. Some people got really upset about it, but they didn't have like the whole clock tower sequence and the graveyard and stuff from the big finale from the original. And, you know, I thought those were some of the coolest parts of the game, so it's a shame that they cut it in the Resident Evil 3 Remake. You know what? If they have to cut something, if they have to cut a sequence from the original Resident Evil 4 for this remake, I kind of hope it's a lot of the really late island sections. Like, they have to keep the village segments intact. They have to keep the entire thing. They have to keep the big cheese, El Gigante. You have to have Del Lago, which they do. They showed that. You have to have the dog. You have to have all that shit in the village. You have to have the little retina eye thing. You have to have the Chainsaw Sisters. Come on. You can't skip any of that stuff. They can't skip any of that. Okay? And then the castle, they got to keep the entire castle too. Maybe, you know what? Okay. The annoying parts late in the castle were like, you know, like the part where you ride the platform across and you snipe those guys in the lava chamber that are in the dragon statues. We probably don't need to have that or some of those late sequences, but we gotta keep most of the castle, especially the early parts of the castle. Everything with Salazar. I didn't see any Salazar in the trailer. I'm just gonna trust that Salazar is in the game. Some of the sequences in the castle that are just combat, it's just like you go into a room and there's just a bunch of mobs. Like maybe they don't have to have that, but I feel like almost all of it, other than that, they have to keep. And here's maybe a controversial opinion. They gotta keep the part where you play as Ashley. That's very unique. I know some people hated it, but it's like a unique tone shift of like, I don't have any weapons now. I'm gonna, you know, do these puzzles and everything. You know, maybe we don't have the sliding puzzle in particular. Maybe something a little bit more interesting. But other than that, they gotta keep the Ashley segment. And I hope that they keep. I noticed something, and I'm wondering how they're gonna handle Ashley as an escort mission. Because I'm assuming that we'll just see this at like the beginning of the game of like, oh, Ashley, she's running. But I hope that they don't do too much of like Ashley separating herself from you. Like I want her to be part of the gameplay. Because I know some people didn't like, you know, the escort mission of the game, but I thought Ashley was actually a very good companion for the most part. Like much better than some other escort missions that I've played. You know, you can hide her in a dumpster. Like when you aim with the gun, she gets behind you so you don't shoot her. I don't know. I feel like she's fine. So I know she has an annoying voice. That's probably where a lot of it comes from. But yeah, some of these sequences where they show Ashley just like wandering around, I'm kind of just like, well, that's fine. But I hope that you still get to play, you know, with her as Leon. But anyway, so yeah, gotta keep all that stuff that I talked about. But like, in like the island, you gotta keep the opening sequence of the island where you first get there with Ada. You gotta keep encountering the Regenerator for the first time, encountering the Iron Maiden for the first time. But then like, maybe we can cut the helicopter pilot. I'm sorry. We can cut the helicopter pilot and all the sequences where it's just a bunch of ganados with guns. We don't have to have that. That part drags so bad. The JJs, you know, the machine gun guys, we could cut those guys. I mean, the game is like I love RE4, but it has an entirely different tone at that point that we could probably skip. Because the original Resident Evil is like what? Like, I don't know. How many hours would you say? 16 to 20? And I do wonder with the remake, especially since it's coming out so soon, if it's going to be significantly less than that, or like maybe they've been working on it for longer. Maybe they worked on it at the same time as like 2 and 3, and it's just, I don't know. I'm just a little worried about the cut content because I hope they don't get rid of anything that like we really loved from 4. But yeah, you know, if they're going to cut anything, those late island sequences have got to go. And I wouldn't be against something new either. If they want to put in some, because like some of the stuff we obviously haven't seen before, and they look like cutscenes. They look like cutscenes, some of the stuff in here that I'm like, oh, that's not an angle. That's not an environment from the original Resident Evil 4. They look like just like little cutscenes or transitions that they do. But I do wonder, like, I mean, I wouldn't be against playing as Ashley in an all-new sequence. Oh, yeah. Las Plagas. We kind of get to see his face a little bit there. Not much of it, though. They kind of figured that we would do that. All right. Yeah. All right, well, those are my thoughts on the Resident Evil 4 trailer. Really cool that they started off. I wasn't expecting to see anything at all today. Resident Evil. I just tuned in.
Just forget what happened that night.
I only tuned in like on the off chance that we would see something, and we did. Nice.
This time, it can be different. It has to.
Wow. Yeah. So 9 months and 3 weeks from now, guys. Resident Evil 4 remake. So cool. All right.